Good evening and welcome to Greater Somerville for July 23rd, 2013. I'm Cayenne Anderson. Tonight's topic, urban agriculture in Somerville. With the recent implementation of the urban agriculture ordinances, the first of their kind in the state, what are local citizens doing to educate the public in order to make sure that the urban ag continues to thrive in our neighborhoods for years to come? Our guest tonight is here to talk about, she's a co-founder of Relish, which is a social enterprise and new center for urban agriculture in Somerville, located in the heart of Union Square. We'll find out a little more about the organization, what Relish events are on the horizon, and how you can get involved with this worthwhile local initiative. So please join me in welcoming, for her debut appearance here on Greater Somerville, Marycat Chaikin to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
My goodness, technology. So anyway, this is one of those programs that I really wanted to do because we've had the urban agriculture ordinance people on here from the city of Somerville, and I just think that this is one of those organizations that really does so much for the community, and it is a organization you just started in 2013.
Just June 1st.
Yep.
Opened.
Just opened. So we're going to find out a little bit more about the organization in a bit. And the other co-founder, Mimi Graney, is not here tonight, so we want to say hi to Mimi. But we'll talk a little bit more about the organization and how you got started. But we want to just find out a little bit about you, because I always find it interesting where people come from, why they do what they do. So you are from Gainesville, Florida.
Yes. I grew up in North Florida.
So you're used to the heat.
Kind of.
And the humidity.
Used to.
It's disgusting. But it's better today, so I can't complain. I don't want to be so negative. So you graduated from Oberlin College, and what did you get your degree in?
I studied geology.
Okay.
At Oberlin and natural history.
Okay. And you are the manager of the Union Square Farmers Market as well as the Winters Farmers Market, correct?
They go together well.
They go together well. They're very popular. What? There's like 20 or so vendors, 20, 25?
Yeah, the Union Square Market fills up the plaza, and we've moved into the parking lot as well. So there's about 25 vendors every week, and then guest vendors as well.
And how many people come through the doors?
Anywhere from about 1,200, 1,300 in a slow week up to 3,000.
Okay.
So we have around 2,000 on average.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It's a big market.
It's very popular around here. Okay, so you've worked at a number of well-respected and locally sourced restaurants, Craigie Street Bistro, the Blue Room, Sherman Cafe, and as I understand it, that's kind of where you got your, I don't say you got your local fix, but that's kind of where you...
Yeah, I'd worked at a small farm while I was at Oberlin that's connected with the college, and was interested in local farming, and when I moved to Boston, of course, I needed a job, and I was drawn to the restaurants that
that's good.
were sourcing locally, and just thought maybe I could learn to cook and get some experience. So, and then I just really loved having that connection with the farms and working with fresh vegetables.
And then, interestingly enough, in 2009, you founded Pudding Stone Kitchen Catering. Your business, which is wonderful.
So it's being an on-site chef, and I source with farmers that I made connections with at the farmers market, and kind of kept up that relationship.
Okay, and you did that when you had your, because you have two small children.
Yes.
So you started
after
that
my daughter
business.
was born, and I wanted some flexibility in work, so I started doing the on-site catering in the evenings and weekends.
Okay, so how old are your children?
Katie is 4.5.
Okay.
And Arlo just turned 2.
I love that name, Arlo. Okay, so now, I know to the viewers at home, I always give people a hard time if they don't live in Somerville. Technically, Marycat did live in Somerville for 10 years, and she is, we call her what, displaced?
Temporarily displaced.
Temporarily displaced to Watertown, which isn't too far away, so I think, that's an acceptable distance, but you're coming back.
Yes.
Okay, and you do all this stuff for Relish here, so technically, she's kind of a
my life is in Union Square.
So now let's talk a little bit about your inspiration, because it sounds a little like Groundhog's Day, but your inspiration for this whole event, or the whole Relish idea, came from, your grandmother. Talk about your grandmother.
So
Florida.
Both my grandmothers were kind of very much the original Relish types.
Yeah.
My grandmother in Florida is particularly interesting because she was kind of a pioneer in Florida farming in the 1950s. She was a cattle woman. She had her own herd that belonged to herself.
That's fantastic.
And she was in southern Florida, and she served on, I feel like she was one of the first women to serve with the Board of Cattlemen in Florida. And then she also was one of the first women to serve on the board of directors for the state 4-H and was really active in agriculture. And she was a beekeeper as well.
And what's her name?
Anita Brown.
Anita Brown. And power to Anita Brown.
Yes.
And she's still in Florida.
She is in Florida. She lives in Lake City, Florida.
And how is she supportive of Relish?
Absolutely. She helped fund Relish when it started.
There you go.
She just got her thank you package in the mail with an apron and a tote bag. She was pretty excited.
That's great.
And she continues definitely to inspire and encourage. She's wonderful.
Okay, so Relish. Let's talk a little bit about Relish. Founded in 2013, June. So hot off the press. Greater Somerville is really always on the pulse of Somerville events. No, I'm just kidding. And you and Mimi Graney, who we all know well from Union Square Main Streets, co-founded this organization. And basically, the organization offers hands-on classes and workshops from experienced instructors that are local on topics related to urban farming, food production, as well as providing high-quality supplies and equipment. So you're kind of like a store. I love it. It's like a flexible space. It's like they're a store, but they do classes. Like it's kind of like it's the best of both worlds.
It's really fun, and they work really well together.
They do. And you're located in the alley between, and it's Sanborn Court, in the alley between Independent and Bronwyn and
kind of right across from Journeyman and Back Bar.
Okay, all right. And so you have a store. Like for the store. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 5 to 8:30, and then from Saturday 9 a.m. to 2. So that corresponds with the farmers market, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of traffic.
We're open when the restaurants are busy and there's a lot of foot traffic around.
Okay, perfect. And so, and then classes are in variable times. Your classes.
Evenings and Saturdays for adult classes and kids classes during the day.
Okay, so that actually makes me. This is the second time I forgot. We have some beautiful little graphics that we're gonna go through a little bit, talk a little about the classes.
The graphics.
Yep, cue the graphics. There's that. Urban agriculture, that Relish, that beautiful logo that you're going to see everywhere, and you need to ask the questions and check out their website. We'll find out that information on our website. So what do we have here? This goes to the fermentation / canning craze, because everybody's like canning it up these days, right?
It's true.
That's kind of where it's at.
We have a whole series of food production classes focusing on kind of putting away for the winter, so canning, fermenting. On Saturday, the guy who makes these crocks, Jeremy Oguski, is teaching a class. So we sell his crocks in the store.
Yep.
And then people can take a class with him and learn to ferment and make sauerkraut kimchi. And we just had a really successful canning class last weekend where people learned to make salsa and kind of work with the products through the summer to put away for the winter.
And it's sold out, right?
It's sold out. And everyone got to make a plan for kind of like following the harvest throughout the year.
Wow. So like a nice little calendar to know when to plant or when to can the wet. That's awesome. Everybody's into canning. I love it. Okay, so this next one. Now look at how happy she is. She's not canning. She's doing something slightly different than can, or some of it might be canning.
So this is part of our workshop room that you see in the background, and this was the first in our series of crafting herbal remedies class.
Ooh.
And the class worked with Steph Zabel, who's the founder of Herb Stock, and she has her own herbal remedies business.
Okay.
So they learned to make tinctures and infused wines.
Whoa, now what's tincture? What's that?
Tinctures are when you put a lot of herbs into alcohol and let them steep for a really long time, and then press out the solids, and what you have left is a tincture that you can use for health and wellness. I've also seen tinctures used in cocktails.
Oh.
So they learned about uses and how to make them.
Interesting. Okay. And now this is fascinating. I love this.
So this was one of our very first classes, which was the Build a Hive workshop.
Okay.
So
build a bear, build a hive.
Exactly.
Something like
Mike
that.
Graney is kind of our resident beekeeping instructor. He owns Eat Local Honey, and he's a Somerville resident.
Okay.
So he taught folks basically how to get started in beekeeping from the ground up. So how to build the hive, build the frames, what to do with the bees, how to install the hive. So the whole class got their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Assembled all the hives and frames and foundations and started painting everything. And what you see here is how they're laid out so they can be painted on all sides together.
I was just going to say, so these are all, you have every single one of these are all stacked together.
Those are called supers. And the one that you see on the far end that's bigger is called a deep. All the rest are mediums. And you start with the deep and kind of keep adding.
Where's the bottom? The bottom's at the
so
the
a bottom
thick
would be underneath the deep and frames.
That's where all the honey is.
frames like with all the honey that the bees build their cells hang inside of those supers.
Okay, so I'm going to be a total designer here and make mention of the color of them. And can you add a little flair to these things?
Well, this is just the primer. We primed with white. All right. And then we chose to paint ours yellow and blue. You can do whatever you want, but people want to tend towards light colors so that they don't get really hot in the summer.
You don't want the hot bees.
So you just, any color works.
A hot bee is not a happy bee. I don't think that's a smart idea.
No, they put them to a lot of extra work to cool down their hive.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Okay, so now here we have, look at Mimi. There she is in the red umbrella.
There's Mimi, and that's Avery, who's with her in the raincoat holding on to it. That's called a bee package. There's about 2,000 live bees in there and a queen bee.
Oh my God.
They're going to go into the super.
Nice. Okay, now you also have, just in time for summer vacation, for all those kiddies out there that have a lot of time on their hands and parents that want to occupy their children. You have offer kids courses, correct?
Our kids classes are a series called Relish Kids.
Okay.
And over the summers, they're week-long courses that kind of have a theme generally relating to urban ag or homesteading. This was last week's class they were called Seeds to Leaves, Roots to Shoots. They ate plants and foraged for plants and planted seeds and did art around plants. And this week is a printmaking class. Coming up are insect and animal classes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is another
More classes in our workshop space.
All right. I just love this picture. I just got to put it. So now, who is this?
This is Harmony the rabbit. She's sort of a rescue rabbit. She needed a new home that we heard about.
Harmony.
And Relish sponsors the first ever 4-H club in Somerville and Cambridge, and she's the pet and mascot of the 4-H club. And she's always around when the stores open. People come just to see her.
Oh my God, Harmony. She's eating some nice mixed greens and kale there. That's pretty impressive. She's got a better diet than most of us do. Okay, and now I just thought this little girl was so cute, and she really loves Harmony.
Yeah, the kids love to come back and see her, and we tell everyone they can open the cage and pet her. She's really friendly, she's always up for visitors.
So adorable. So you got to come see Harmony and Relish. Okay, we're going to switch back.
All right.
Technologically savvy. There you go. And we're back. So we touched a little bit on the courses, but some of the other ones that you don't mention. But we'll talk about because I just think they go hand in hand with the urban agriculture ordinances. Backyard chickens. So tell me a little bit about that.
So one of our first classes was Backyard Chickens 101. Christy, who
the chicken lady,
know, the chickeness from Yardbirds with her chicken ambassadors.
Yeah.
So we're partnering with Yardbirds to do chicken classes at Relish. She taught a Chickens 101 class, everything people need to know to get started. And the first Tuesday of every month, so coming up soon, the first Tuesday in August, we're sponsoring with Yardbirds a sort of chicken social evening. So anyone who has backyard chickens in the greater Somerville area who's interested in keeping chickens can come talk with other chicken keepers.
Okay, so one of the things about the chicken, I mean, obviously an architect, so I'm interested in the chicken coop and how it's constructed and whatever. And there's all these regulations with the urban ag ordinance, which is great, right? Because you have to have a certain amount of space for a certain chicken. You can't just put them in the low box. But do you get, Chicken 101, I would assume you don't talk about that. That's probably a little too in-depth.
They do talk about that in Chicken 101, like how much square footage you need per chicken, how many chickens you really need to have. They're social creatures. And they get down to the technicalities of can this space under the coop be considered part of their yard?
Yeah.
Which it can be. So you actually don't need a lot of room for chickens to be really happy and healthy. But they do go over that, and plus chicken wire is kind of a misnomer. In the city, you don't want to use chicken wire for your coop. You need hardware cloth because predators and rodents can chew through chicken wire. So they learn about that kind of thing.
Predators.
In Chicken 101.
Speaking, this is a total off the topic, but it's not. There's that chicken coop that's right on the bike path.
Yeah.
There's a really big chicken coop, and one morning at 6 a.m, my dog Oreo decided to. He got off leash and he ran and he circled. He's barking at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. I felt awful, and I had to tackle him because I was so nervous he was going to go and and the chickens were just running around, and I'm like, oh my God, I just kid myself in shame. So anyway, I'm glad that they did not have the chicken wire because poor Oreo was just leaping at that thing. So anyway, so.
So the chicken classes, and we do chicken feed orders as part of the Tuesday night, so people can pick up chicken feed and scratch and all the things that people want to feed their chickens.
So the first Tuesday of every month.
First Tuesday evening, you can find it on our class listing. It's a free social hour, and sometimes there's a talk or something beforehand that people can join.
Okay, so we'll have all these on our website too, so they can check that out. So that was, and then Bee King, we talked about urban gardening, canning, more The kids, I just think the kids' classes are really interesting, and there are limited spaces, correct? Because you want to keep them small so
Yes.
people.
So the
get
classes
engaged.
tend to be sort of 8 to 15 people. Our whole idea is that you're not just getting a lecture, you're getting hands-on
Yeah.
experience. So you have the confidence and the experience to go home and recreate what you're doing.
So tell me a little bit about the people that are teaching these courses, because I understand there's a lot of, there's faculty, relish, which I think is lovely. Those are local people with expertise in beekeeping, chickens, what have you.
Yes.
And
We put out a call for instructors. Some
Okay.
people came to us. Some people we tracked them down and asked them if they would join our team.
Okay.
And they would propose classes to us that they were, at different levels of
Yeah.
experience. And they're people who have experience teaching, are really passionate about their subject and
Yeah.
experienced in it. For instance, the woman who teaches the canning class we talked about
Yeah.
hasn't bought produce in winter since 2009 because she
That's great.
puts everything away.
impressive.
And our beekeeper we talked about, Christy, and our Relish Kids instructors, some of them are local elementary school teachers who are off in the summer.
For the
and wanna
summer.
come
They need
work
something to
with
do.
kids.
I have a friend who's a teacher, Emily.
Well-
She always has all this extra time. No, I'm just
Does she have
kidding.
an interest in chickens?
Yeah, no. She actually is she has a community garden space.
Oh, that's
and
great.
she's expecting some children. So anyway, that being said, she's got her hands full right now. But that said, and you also offer courses, like if they want to teach a course, like if somebody out there really has some burning desire to do some sort, they can
Yeah, they can
email
absolutely
you.
contact us if it has to do with urban agriculture in any sense
It's
or
connected.
homesteading. Then they can let us know this is what they're passionate about and they'd like to teach, and we'll consider the class.
Okay. And so, like we talked about, so what I think is neat is the store. And you had said this, you didn't think the store was going to be quite as, I don't say quite as successful, because I'm very happy.
Yeah, we
this
were
is-
really expecting that the workshops would be the main draw, and it's turned out to be kind of more even. So
Really?
we really upped the store and increased our store hours, and people are really interested in the store, and we've added on kind of more items for the home for people who are really interested in urban agriculture but might not be able to do it right now, but they like the general aesthetic and vibe.
Yeah.
We have small space gardening offerings. We have containers you can hang on your wall to do vertical gardening, indoors or outdoors.
Okay.
So, we try to have something for everyone, and the store has really been a big success, and people love seeing activity in the garage, on the court, and visiting the rabbit.
So you have a website that contains a lot of this stuff, but obviously you don't send that stuff.
No,
people
we
can
don't
come
do
pick it
mail
up,
orders
correct?
right now. It's all
Okay.
based in the store, but a lot of items are special order that are things like composted cow manure straight from a local farm. We don't keep
Yeah.
that in the store, but
Yeah,
people
yeah.
order it and they come pick it up on Saturdays. So we have a whole section for chicken feed and other items from farms that are, if you order online and come to the store, but everything's based in our physical location.
Okay, and that pretty much comes from all over, pretty locally, or
Yeah, we try to source locally as much as possible. We work with local artisans and suppliers.
Okay, so the store again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 5 to 8:30, and then Saturday 9 to 2 on Sanborn Court, the alleyway between Independent and Bronwyn. So next steps, like you and Mimi started this, wonderful idea. What are you thinking next 12 months? Because you had said initially you were thinking that this was only going to be like a,
Yeah, when
I don't
Mimi
say
and
a one-hit wonder, but
Well, when we first got our heads
couple of-
together, we thought the space is open. Let's do some sort of pop-up initiative and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And it became apparent really quickly once we got started that
Yeah.
it was going to be something bigger. So we'll definitely be staying around and growing our classes, extending into winter classes, and continuing to boost our store offerings. So we're not going anywhere. We will have to do a little bit of reconfiguring for the winter months.
Yeah, I was just wondering if
'Cause we're
that's a
in
heated space.
The garage, the store is not heated, and it's
Okay.
a big open garage door.
Yeah.
But we do have, the building has, standard entrances, and we have our workshop room is really big and dynamic space. So
And
we can
heated.
add our store and heated, yes.
Which is wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, so that's great. And you've been received, obviously, by the Somerville community with open arms, I would assume.
People
like
are
everybody's
really excited to see it, and they don't have to travel as far to get the supplies that they need.
That's
they can
what
get
I
them
think is
locally, and people are excited to see that they can just learn. If a lot of
Yeah.
people like canning is really big right
Yeah.
now. They've always wanted to can, and they
Trendy.
can just take
Very
a class.
So are the classes only available to Somerville residents?
No, anyone can take our classes.
Anyone
We've
can
had
take
people
the
from
classes.
Medford,
We'll let the
Arlington,
Cambridge people in
Malden.
just this once. Just kidding, I shouldn't say that. So miscellaneous questions, we'll just move on to that here. So one of the things that I find interesting about urban agriculture, especially in Somerville, because it's such a dense urban setting, is that you do get a couple of people, and I've heard a couple of people talk to me about it, having bees and having chickens in such a very closed space. And when you have people that say things to you, or do you have people that approach you, what is your response to that?
Well, people tend to come in the store and they see the beehives are pretty prominent, and they're really surprised that you can't keep bees in the city. And that's the thing that people really want to know about with small yards close together.
Yeah.
But luckily, the urban ag ordinance does really carefully lay out exactly how you can have bees. That's in a way that's safe for residents and safe for your neighbors. And we always let people know bees are everywhere, right around the hive. They're going to be really active, but once you get just a little bit farther away, it's just like the rest of the world. If you have clover growing in your yard, you're going to have bees there, whether or not your neighbor has a hive or not. Chickens, we don't really get a lot of skepticism about chickens. People are so excited that you can have chickens in Somerville.
I know.
That's generally what people ask us right away.
But you can't have a rooster.
You can't have a
No
rooster.
roosters, so there's not going to be someone waking me up at 5, 4 in the morning, whatever. But the chickens, they do cluck.
They do
right?
cluck.
I mean, you can have...
I mean, 6 chickens will make noise. They're not silent animals, and your neighbors will hear them. But it's, to me, less than a barking dog that would bark
true, my
all
dog does
hours
bark.
of the night. But you'd probably bring your dog inside.
Yeah, but see, 6 chickens is the max. So 3 chickens, you're going to cut your noise down 50%, but you don't want to go below that because they're social creatures, right? They all
you have to have at least 2, and it's really
2.
recommended that you have 3 because they work well in a flock and they're very social.
They're social birds.
But people are so excited that they can have chickens, and what
how
we
many
hear
chickens?
is the enthusiasm.
This is kind of how many chickens do we have in Somerville? That would be an interesting
that
fun
is
fact.
interesting. With the ordinance, the data must be out there.
Louisa needs to give us the data.
Yeah, we need
how
to
many
call
chickens
Louisa.
do we have in Somerville? So, we talked a little bit about the city and, the urban agriculture ordinance, obviously, but it's important to note that Relish is a completely separate entity, and while it was inspired by the urban ag ordinance, you guys are really doing some unique things, and I think, that's just one of the things that I asked initially if you're supported by the city, but in a sense, it's important to note that you guys are completely separate. Mm-hmm. And so, I really do encourage people to go and check out the classes and, really understand what the store has to offer, because it kind of one feeds the other, right? I don't know. I suppose you get a lot of people. There's probably a little bit of overflow, right? Because didn't they have the urban agriculture ambassadors?
Yes.
Right. So there was a program with the city that 15 people got all these courses.
Yeah, the city and Green City Growers.
Yeah, they did that, which I thought was wonderful. And then I'm curious if you reap the benefits of some of those people.
We've been contacted by a few of the urban agriculture ambassadors, and we've reached out to those organizations to try to cross-promote and work together on classes and things. And one of our instructors who taught the container gardening class, his name's Abe Gore, he's currently working at City Hall as part of the Urban Ag Ambassador Program, and he came to Relish and was excited about it, taught our container gardening class because everyone went home with a garden for small spaces. So we've had contact, we're really excited about it, and we hope to continue working together and having that expertise brought into Relish.
That's great. And now, is there a certain demographic that's getting involved, or are you kind of attracting all types, all ages, and
It's a pretty broad spectrum. A lot of our classes so far have been intro-level classes, so a lot of young people, but also older people. People have taken the classes, someone our age and their parents have come together, which is really nice.
It's a fun little,
and friends come take the class sometimes. So there's a lot of younger people, maybe people in their 30s who are kind of the main core, but people who are older, experienced farmers are also excited to see what we have and to come into the store. So it's a pretty good cross-section.
And you're building it. Yeah, you build from I love that's one of the things I like about Somerville is that it's so diverse. You've got kind of people that have been here forever, people that are new, you've got kids, and I think if everybody can be educated in these ways, just think of what that's going to do to the community, which I think is really a wonderful thing.
So we're really hoping to foster a community environment of people working together, using their yards together, using their spaces together, using their kitchens together, because once you have the skills, you can share with your neighbors, make connections with people in your community to not everyone needs to have exactly the same tools and space and garden and chickens. There's not the space for it. And everyone, we can...
You could share.
Share, exactly.
People can can peaches and other people can this, and you can kind of swap it out because you don't eat peaches all winter, because that would drive you a little bit crazy. So tell us a little bit, we've only got a couple of minutes here, so why don't you tell us a little? So you guys, you're on Facebook.
Yes.
Relish Center for Urban Agriculture. So you're on Facebook. This is all going to be on our website, so don't worry about that. You're on Twitter at Relish Urban Ag. Mm-hmm. And then relishurbanag.com is your website. And then there's a button on there very clearly denoted that you can just click on there and go to the events page, right? And then they register with the events.
Right.
And what else? And we've got your...
We're on Instagram. For anyone who's on Instagram, they can follow us and see everybody's urban ag projects, see things that are in our store. It's a great way for such a visual
See
medium.
Harmony the bunny. Mm-hmm. It's great. So closing thoughts, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing, biggest challenges of Relish, I mean, in the last 12 months? What do you think are your challenges?
Starting a new small business is difficult, to say the least. It's a ton of work. Anyone who started a small business, I think, anyone we know who started a small business, it's been really nice to commiserate with and know we're not alone. So it's a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of money to put out and take the risk. But the reward is in seeing how excited everyone is and seeing people take, kind of meet our goals of having the business, how excited they are to have those skills and self-confidence to go home and do it on their own. And kind of seeing the community form around Relish. So that's been rewarding.
That's the most rewarding thing.
It is a lot of time, and I'm sure it will continue to be so for a while. So
that's right. You get along with Mimi well, so that's good.
We love
that's a good
together.
Thing. So tell me a little bit of the upcoming events. Relish, you've got in the next couple of days, so we can just inform the viewers at home.
Wednesday evening, we have the second in our series of crafting herbal remedies that we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. The one on Wednesday night will be making infused oils and vinegars for both topical health uses and to use in the kitchen. Okay. So learning backyard herbs and specialty herbs you can use. Thursday night is a free event. It's an etching party. So a lot of people want to customize their jars.
People want to get all designy with their jars.
Yeah, make your gift extra special, or get your jars back if you're do a lot of canning and you want to mark them as yours.
Okay.
Or decorate anything you want to. So people can come, buy supplies at the store, bring their own from home. That's Thursday.
Okay.
Saturday, we're having the fermentation workshop.
Fermentation.
We'll come do a walking tour of the Union Square Farmers Market, talk about buying produce with fermentation in mind. Go back to the class for lecture and hands-on experience to make some foods to take home.
I love it.
So that's happening Saturday.
There's stuff always happening. They always have new classes, so definitely check out their website. I would like to thank our guest, Marycat Chaikin, for coming on to Greater Somerville and talking with us tonight about Relish, the new social enterprise and urban agricultural center. And I would encourage all of you at home to make sure that you spread the word about this exciting and informative organization, and to check out the Greater Somerville website for all the related links and information about tonight's program. I'd like to personally thank Marycat and Mimi Graney for all that they do for Somerville. Their efforts are clearly making a difference in our community, and I think individuals like this are really important for our community to grow. So I'd like to thank you for that. And that does it for us tonight. So thank you to the viewers at home for watching. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed. Good night, everyone. We're good. We're recording. Smile.